Oh no, if it's bloody, we might have to have you tell it. Oh, let's see here. Alrighty, that should be good. Well, you were wearing a French beret,
Tam,
a
yeah.
tam, and walking down the street, and the Johnson fellow
He
showed up.
snatched it. So I chased him down to Choppy Hatchet's restaurant, and I tackled him there and took it back away from him. He came up fighting, and we fought. And finally they pulled us apart. And the Ford garage at that time was where Kelly and Bob's thing is right now. And they had a thing out there where you put your tires down in under the water, and if there's a leak, it'd bubble up, So they took us down there and socked us down in that a few times, washed the blood off of it. And we started back up the street, and we got up to the theaters then, and one thing led to another, and he said one of them talked to them about a country bumpkin or something, and we went into it again, and we were just fighting like you wouldn't believe, and blood was squirting, and noses was mashed, and so eventually they stopped us again and took us back down to the Ford garage and washed blood off of us, and turns it out, now go on home, you go this way and you go this way. Of course we went the same way. We got about halfway uptown again, and one of them says, "You gonna let him get away with that?" Into it again we went. So we fought, and finally the sheriff and the deputy came and picked us up and got us up off the ground, and they was holding us to keep us from getting to each other, and we were just struggling trying to finish that fight, because each one of them knew that he was the best man anyway.
Well, how old were you?
I was 12, and he was about 13 or 14.
You were going up a couple classes.
I was going up a class there. But he was from out of town, and I was a town boy, that made a difference. It made up the difference of 2 years. So we fought there, and then the police, sheriff and the deputy grabbed me, and one of them pinned my arms behind my back and put his arms in behind my arms, and he held me there, and my face just sticking out, and the other guy lost Johnson, and he got away from him. He hit me a haymaker, and me and my face sticking out like that.
Oh no!
And the lights went out, and I dropped down. And they finally brought us to again and washed us off. And the sheriff took me, he knew where I lived, so he brought me up to the corner of the First National Bank and then walked down to my house, which was right across from where Bill's barber shop is, And then he took Wendy and took him up the holler and took him all the way down, got him out of town, told him not to come back.
So did you ever get in another shot, or was that sucker punch it?
No, then I got home, and I had to go sneak some pork chop or a piece of steak out of because my eye was just about closing, to put on my eye so I wouldn't have a black eye the next day, because that would show that I'd lost. And so I did that, but it didn't help. Next day it was black, and I was bruised up, and I had to hide. And then I heard that Wendy had 2 black eyes, so I went out on the street. My black eye was a badge, I proved that I'd won the fight.
That's funny.
It's kind of a crazy way of living.
Well, did you, with 9 children, did you guys receive any kind of allowance?
That's a good one. Well, now, not actually, really, because Dad come in off a trip while we'd always go out in the orchard, because we had an orchard and had some good fruit in it. And each one of us would try to get Dad the best looking, reddest apple, or the best peach, or whatever had, or the best cherries, and bring them in. And we'd put them by his chair. He had a chair there where the fireplace was. And so each one of us would try to get him the best one we could. And then by that time, he'd be settled down and have his supper ready and eat. And so And then he would dig in his pocket and he'd get a penny here and a penny there and maybe a nickel or whatever he had for the older girls. Of course, the older girls had their own bank account. We was in the affluent society there for a little while when the first, when the first top of the litter was growing up. But we got some pennies once in a while, but as far as allowance is concerned, I wouldn't think. Our allowance, we worked for what we got. And sometimes we didn't get it then.
Well, I'm going to pause this just for a second.